Hi, my name is Jon Hand. The name of the business I developed and implemented for this course is called Kustomyze. So first I'll tell you about the concept, go into the original implementation for what the original concept was. I'll talk a little bit about the validation I received, which then led me to pivot and implement something a little bit different, and I'll close with the validation and the future plans for that. So the concept, Kustomyze is a printing business that customizes everything from t-shirts to iPhone cases for both its B2B and B2C customers. A little bit more about the business. Kustomyze.com, users will be able to customize a variety of products using their own images or by accessing our extensive library of licensed artwork. So the way it works is, let's say someone's going to an ugly sweater Christmas party and they want to put a picture of their cat on a sweater. They can go on Kustomyze.com, they'll have a tool, they can upload the image from Instagram, put a big cat on the sweater, see what it looks like in real time, and click purchase. Then they're taken to the checkout where they can pay either with credit card, PayPal, or Bitcoin. I'm excited about this because if you're familiar with Bitcoin, it's been in the media a lot lately. The price right now is a little volatile, but I think there's some potential for that in the future. So product analysis. In the future, Kustomyze will offer literally thousands of products. But it's important that I make the distinction that we will not be selling these products. Rather, we'll be selling the customization of these products. So although we will offer iPhone cases, flip-flops, dog tags, scarves, sweaters, caps, mugs, everything like that, the product itself is not what drives traffic to the site. It's not what sells Kustomyze. What we'll be selling is the customization of that product. Because if someone wants an iPhone case and they want protection for that case, they're going to go to OtterBox. But if someone wants a picture of their kid's face on an iPhone case, they're going to come to Kustomyze.com. So a little market analysis. The printing industry right now is on the decline, has been since the recession, has been declining at a rate of about 3% annually. This is because the printing industry includes magazines, newspapers, etc. And as we all know, thanks to the internet and Kindle, demand for that has been declining. However, companies that focus on niche markets have been enjoying growth. So when I say Vistaprint, what do they make? Cards, business cards. Everyone knows Vistaprint is where you go for business cards. So focusing on that niche market is how you get growth in this declining industry. So if you look at Jack Prints, they make t-shirts, but not just any t-shirt, they make all over t-shirts. Every square inch of that shirt is covered. So that's their niche market, and that's why they're enjoying growth as well. So competition, there are low barriers to entry combined with low startup costs and low regulation. This has resulted in high fragmentation and a very competitive market. When I say high fragmentation, this is not an oligopoly like you've got with Pepsi versus Coke. The top 4 market leaders in terms of revenue only generate 20% of the industry revenue. And low barriers to entry in terms of cost and regulation. Anyone with a little technical know-how and a few $1,000s to get the printing equipment is in business. Marketing strategy. So Kustomyze will only utilize measurable marketing tactics. If it can't be measured, it's waste. I'm sure you've all heard the famous quote, I forget who says it, but he says, half of my advertising is waste, I just don't know which half. That will not be the case for us. We're only going to use stuff that can be measurable, so direct response is what we'll be focusing on. That means Google AdWords, Bing, even Facebook. This allows us to measure the cost per click, the click-through rate, and the conversion rate. Furthermore, we'll also implement direct mail. I know you're probably thinking, who uses direct mail anymore? But the average response rate is about 2%, and if you play your cards right, you can generate triple-digit ROI on that. Not to mention we are a printing company after all, so we should probably show people what we're capable of. So the implementation. Kustomyze was originally conceived as a completely different business with a completely different value proposition. The name of that company was Custom Athletic Promotions. And the goal of this company was to provide promotional athletic apparel to endurance sporting events. This is my Jackrabbit water bottle, and the reason I wanted to get into this industry is twofold. One is that I'm an endurance athlete myself. I race several times a year. I wanted to be involved in that category. But the second is the printing process we use is called dye sublimation. And dye sublimation lends itself well to this category because you can print onto polyester without compromising the moisture wicking component of that. And that's a major advantage for someone who runs a marathon. If you've ever run a marathon or know anyone who has, you do not wear cotton. You wear moisture wicking polyester, which is similar to Under Armour and Nike Dry Fit. So when you use dye sublimation printing, you're not printing on top of the shirt, which would then cause you to sweat, but you're putting the image into the shirt, and it makes a permanent molecular bond with that image. So if you have an all red shirt that's been dye sublimated and you throw it in with your white wash, everything comes out white and that red shirt stays red. So to launch this, I invested $4,000 in the production equipment, which was an inkjet, a Ricoh GX77N inkjet printer. It was retrofitted with sawgrass ink, and I also purchased the Geonite DK20S swing away arm heat press, which is a 20 by 20 heat press. This total cost me about $4,000, and with that I also got product inventory. Worked around with it a little bit. There's a little science behind it. You've got to get the right combination of heat, pressure, and time to get the right product. And after I felt comfortable that I had mastered that, I started to market the product to running stores, running clubs, and race directors. The validation, some of it was positive. I had gotten an order for 25 shirts on one day for a bunch of girls who were running and wanted to have team shirts. Made $250. That was a good day. But overall, the validation was negative. So I had reached out to several prospects, and 13 of them requested sample kits and pricing. And these were all running clubs, race directors, or running stores. And they all said the exact same thing. John, this is a great quality shirt, and this is a great quality image, but I can't afford it. The price is too high. Is there any way you could bring down the price? Shopped around a little bit, and I couldn't understand why I couldn't compete on price, especially since these people weren't buying cotton shirts, which are so much cheaper. And I realized after some painful inner reflection that I had made a crucial error, and I invested in a small format printer instead of a large format printer. With a large format dye sublimation system, the cost of production per unit is dramatically lower. With a small format system, unfortunately, I was not going to be competitive on price in this market. But I had already sunk the money into that, so I thought, how can I pivot? How can I turn this negative into a positive? And it was from this pivot and this negative validation that Kustomyze was born. So rather than focus exclusively on apparel and the B2B market, I decided to expand my product category and focus on the B2C market and build a more consumer-friendly brand. This was as a result of a conversation I had with my supplier. She said, John, I know you've been selling shirts and it isn't going so well for you, but I should let you know, we're selling iPhone cases like hotcakes. We can't keep them in our inventory. We're just getting rid of them so fast. You should consider getting into that. I thought about it, and I looked at the numbers. So to print one t-shirt takes me 60 seconds. To print 12 iPhone cases takes me 45 seconds. And the profit margin on each iPhone case is 10 to 20% higher than on each t-shirt. So it really was a no-brainer. So to implement this, I had to leverage the money that I had sunk into the equipment and find a new way to market this new brand. So that required building a new website first and foremost, one that was consumer friendly. And secondly, getting the message out there through a direct mail campaign. And finally, I had to master the art of printing onto an iPhone case, just as I had done so with the t-shirt. So before I go into that, I just want to show you, here are some shirts that I made. And these are the shirts on which I got the positive feedback, except for in terms of price. So if you want to pass these around and check them out. So the launch. I had to build the website. I hired a developer to build Kustomyze.com, and it was set to launch on November 15th. And then on November 20th, a direct mail campaign was going to go out, and this would have been just in time for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. I was really looking forward and really excited about that. Unfortunately, the website is now 4 weeks behind schedule, and as such, the direct mail campaign is on hold. But I do want to show you the products that were created then after I switched over to cases. So not only does Kustomyze make cases for iPhones, but also for iPads and Samsung Galaxy phones. So you can pass those around. So with the website behind schedule, no launch, I thought, how am I going to get validation for this course? I thought about just maybe launching the direct mail campaign anyway, building my own crummy site, decided that wouldn't be in my business's best interest. So what I decided to do was build an Etsy shop. Is anyone here familiar with Etsy? Yeah? So it's basically a marketplace where artsy people sell their crafts. And I thought, you know what, there's a lot of people selling iPhone cases on there. Maybe I can make some money doing this as well. So let's analyze this validation here. I invested $15 in an Etsy advertising campaign, which ran over 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, I generated $265 in revenue. From day one of this class, I knew that I wanted sales to be the form of validation that I got in the class, because when it comes to business, that is the ultimate form of validation, sales. And I'm happy that I generated $265 in just after being on Etsy for just 2 weeks at a cost of $15. A little more analysis. This is a customer of mine. Her name is Nicole. She said, "These cases look perfect. I cannot wait to give them as Christmas gifts. The processing time was much faster than I expected for a custom order. Jon is very professional. His customer service and work is excellent. Overall, I was very pleased." 5 stars. So I'm happy with that positive validation as well. So future plans. On what Colin said earlier, the big difference between a small business owner and an entrepreneur is the ability to scale. So my future plans are increasing the product line. After reaching certain benchmarks, I'd like to get out of the niche market of exclusively selling smartphone and tablet cases and expand maybe back into t-shirts and look into dog tags and mugs and hats and things like that, and cards. Expanding the production capacity. After reaching another milestone, I would like to convert to a large format printing system. This would involve a large format printer and a large format press, which would increase the output by tenfold. So it takes me now 45 seconds to produce 12 iPhone cases. I'd be able to do 120 cases in that time. And finally, building a team. This experience with my website developer, who's taken 6 weeks to not deliver a project that should have only taken 2 weeks, has taught me that if I have someone who's invested in me and my company, they'll work harder. And I also know that I need someone who can complement my weaknesses. So I definitely want to have a photographer on the team, a search engine marketing specialist, and someone who can build and manage a website. So that's it for Kustomyze. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to the questions at the end.